Ethan Page is in the ring. He explains they've been going through a rough patch with the firm, I'll say. Mentions Hook beating up Stokely, and he has been a mess. No time for a haircut, but still looks better than these fans. Because he goes and uses the promo code PostWrestling at Manscaped.
At Manscaped.com, yes.
He needs answers. Why did Matt hit him with the title? Matt still works for him. So Matt Hardy and Isaiah Cassidy come out. And Matt Hardy, God, I wish I was watching this with Way. His favorite stories in wrestling revolve around contracts. But even better, fine print in the contracts. So Matt brings up the reason that I've treated you like trash is because I worked you into signing that contract where in the fine print, it said if Hook beats Ethan Page, they are no longer under the dominion of the firm, and they get to choose the next match, the next location, and the next stipulation. So this contract that was signed months ago had the foresight to know Hook was going to get a match with Ethan Page. Right?
Unless there was a different contract that they were talking about specific to this Hook match that I'm not aware of.
Doesn't matter. So he then states that I'm going to choose the stipulation that if we win, we are contractually free.
Yeah.
Did I get this right?
You got it right.
Explain to me, if Hook beats Ethan, we're no longer under your dominion.
Yeah. So there's a difference between being under the dominion of and being contractually bound to.
Please explain, legal expert.
I guess being under the dominion of means they get to control you. Being under contract means, I guess, you're no longer under control, so you have free will, but you're still you can't shop around. Dude, you can't shop around. You can't sign with anybody else, any other manager. It's fucking terrible. Okay. And they had even a chance to just completely fix it. And even in the fix, they've completely fucked it up. Like, why wouldn't Matt Hardy have simply, I need to see this fine print. Okay. Cause why
couldn't we have just come out and said after Hook beat Ethan Page, he has been given the right for, we have gotten the rights to a match with you. And if we beat you, we're contractually free. Still messy, but enough of this fine print. We're under your dominion, but we're not under dude. I despise this story.
Hansy's informing us that this Hook contract was signed 2 weeks ago. Okay, so it's a brand new contract. But then you have to ask, why didn't Matt Hardy in this writing of the fine print write just if Hook beats you, Ethan Page, our contracts are free? Why did he have to, what's this dominion bullshit? We need a lawyer. Okay, is there a lawyer in the chat? Let us know. Do you have to first negotiate dominion before contracts? It's awful. It's absolutely terrible. I think, I'm sorry, Mark Sterling, the AEW should never, ever do a contract storyline ever again. None of them have been good.
So Big Bill and Lee Moriarty jump Matt Hardy and Isaiah Cassidy. Hook runs down. Hook tries to throw Big Bill, but Ethan stops him. The firm are in control when Jeff Hardy makes his return. After 10 months away, he runs down with a chair that I can only imagine was his work, and goes to town on everybody. Twist of fate to Moriarty, swanton onto Lee Moriarty, and then he hugs Matt. The place went insane, and that seemed to be the vibe that I got from most people, that it was big. It was treated like a big return. But for me, it's I am concerned about this guy long term. I think that it's not an alarmist reaction to have when this has been repeated. That was a really, really scary incident last June. He is incredibly lucky he is alive. He is incredibly lucky that no one else was injured. I hope that he has sought out remedy for that, and that he is back into a proper mind space. But pro wrestling has been something that has it has led to a lot of problems with him. Even with this reduced schedule that AEW represents, we saw what just several months into it resulted in last year. So I look at this with extreme caution as he is back.
Yeah, and I don't think you're being alarmist to speak that way. When this story came out of his latest arrest, a lot of us and a lot of the audience had no appetite to want to see a Jeff Hardy return to professional wrestling. And this is a situation where I think we simply have to trust his employers, that his employers have given him appropriate chances and to prove himself. And I have to assume a professional wrestling organization has gone through those steps to make sure that this man is healthy enough, has enough precaution in his travel to get from town to town to be able to do something like this, and that it's ultimately something that's a benefit to him and that he's not putting other people in danger. I really hope that all those things have taken place.
But yeah, hope this guy is healthy, and does wrestling help or hurt that? That's going to be determined, obviously. But I can't see this just being the celebrated return without people being cautious and frankly concerned about him. Not to mention others as well that comes with this. So I'm just a little bit like torn between this, but you kind of have to hope for the best because this is somebody that he's under contract. You can see why AEW wants to use him, and it has been 10 months. It's not as though they, just rushed him back, and probably could have if they wanted to.
Yeah, absolutely. I not to say like I'd want this to be exploited or whatsoever, but like I almost am. I think the public might be a bit more assured through a bit more insight into what exactly led to him coming back. What are sort of the checks that he's gone through, and what are the precautions that they're taking right now? Like the steps that they're like. I'm not suggesting this for like an all access or anything like that, but just some sort of information to let people know that what they're watching is not potentially going to harm this guy, that and that they can enjoy something like this guilt free. But maybe I'm only speaking for you and I, because I think a lot of people either aren't aware or don't really care and just are happy to see Jeff Hardy.
It might be. You always look at stuff of like incorporating real life into stuff. I would find it really sleazy if this was worked into like heel promo stuff for a Jeff program. Like I think that I feel that would be really uneasy, because this does not feel as though this is something that is just
so it'll happen, John.
From this man. Like we're talking.
It will happen, like it, especially with the types of promos we've had through Jeff's career. And
was it not mentioned in a promo shortly after with Matt Hardy after it happened last year?
Oh, I feel
it was brought up like once. Anyway, anyway, it was a big story on the show, and we'll see. Like it's, I think it certainly comes.
How many? Like, I feel like he's had several last chances. Like, is this the last chance?
Conventional wisdom would say yes. I could not imagine partially like seeing another return, but he is a big star, and you heard it from this reaction. So you can never underestimate that ability. Like look at how many chances he has gotten at this point.
Again, and maybe
this is going back 20 years from when he didn't want to go to rehab, and WWE had to let him go in 2003. We were talking about.
Which was why I feel like a certain level of transparency with your audience, I think, is necessary for something like this. Because I think the last thing AEW would want, and Tony Khan would want, is to have the audience feel like he's putting a guy onto screen, onto the road, when it might not be good for his health. So,
and the style that he was working too, I mean, that contributes to it as well. Like you were watching this guy that was just killing himself in these matches, and like it just, to me, it all ties together that leads the audience, I think, to have a level of concern. But there will be many that are not going to have that level of thought when it goes into this. We'll be checking back in on the Post Wrestling Cafe Friday night, 10 p.m. Eastern time. I don't care when the NBA game ends. We're going live at 10 p.m. Eastern time, because we never get bumped on our network here. So that will be coming up Friday. Early Monday, I will have a show on the cafe with John Cino covering Impact Rebellion. So we will have Cino's viewing from home and my live perspective, where I will be very much the guy that will be seated for the entire 3 hours of the pay-per-view. And WH Park might be giving me a piggyback to my car afterwards. So there you have it.